Welcome to the second episode of the fall 2023 season. Due to the simplicity, this will be the first one in the analysis series to only include 4 runs. The map can be divided into 4 relevant sections: the first jump, the second jump, the right turn, and the ending. Most of the time gain on the map results from reducing airtime and optimizing speed slides, but there are still a few tips and tricks to keep in mind. We start off by driving slightly to the right, adjusting to a straight line towards the first jump. When going up the ramp, a simple right steering input is used to adjust the trajectory and gain the necessary height. This run does not execute the first, the second, nor the drop down perfectly. For now, our goal is to jump low enough to get the 5th gear before jumping for the second time without worrying too much about speed sliding yet. If you are not yet familiar with gear mechanics, O2 Guide Summer 2023. To achieve a clean gear up, the car must be in a full no-slide position right when it is about to happen, approximately 330 speed. This can be identified via engine sound. Like on map 01, a clean gear gains a lot of time and provides the baseline for future runs. The second jump can prove to be a bit more tricky than the first one, which is why we take a closer look. Imagine approaching the ramp from a straight angle. This will always result in a very high and straight jump. Contrary to this, too much of a diagonal angle on the ramp and the car will flip. Landing with too much rotation will always result in a major slowdown. Our goal is to find the angle where airtime reaches its minimum while still landing properly. During later runs, more tools will be available to adjust the outcome. For now, keep this general idea in mind. After the landing, the white car takes a wide and smooth line around the right turn, making sure to avoid the penalty grass. For now, simply drive straight towards the finish. Make sure to not rotate the car for the final jump and do not steer while landing, as this can result in bouncing on the water. Improvements in the second run result from a cleaner first jump, reducing airtime in the drop down and sliding afterwards to increase acceleration towards the finish. We begin with the first jump, where an additional steering input to the left before leaving the ground allows more control of the car, as well as a potential so-called nose-down. This is useful in some situations, as the Trackmania car is exclusively relying on front-wheel drive and therefore leaves more time to accelerate. This run does not integrate proper speed sliding, as a clean landing is enough to comfortably gear up in time. The second jump remains the same, but this time we take a short look at counter-steering in the air to further stabilize the rotation. The general rule is that the car will rotate into the direction of the last input when touching the ground, in this case to the right. Steering towards the opposite direction in the air will counteract this momentum or even cancel it out completely. This depends on how much rotation is present and allows for tiny adjustments in the air without fully relying on hitting the perfect takeoff. In this example, the car's rotation visibly slows down, allowing for a clean landing. The mechanic itself is pretty straightforward, but requires some muscle memory and getting used to. The right turn remains the same, with a bit of a tighter line. Getting to the next major improvement in the run, the drop down. Again, the goal is to reduce airtime, as time spent on the ground counts as acceleration. This is even more impactful if speed sliding is possible. The method used in this case is a diagonal drop combined with a short release of the acceleration button. Similar to the example in the second jump, airtime becomes less depending on the angle of takeoff. Jump as diagonal as possible while maintaining a straight line towards the finish. The release has to happen before leaving the ground to reduce the height of the jump. The duration depends on the speed beforehand, with the goal of getting as close to dropping the gear as possible without doing so. This happens at around 280 speed and can require some practice. If both techniques are combined perfectly, a landing on top of the ramp is possible, leaving much time to accelerate before the final jump. While not necessarily needing proper speed slides yet, attempt to hold the slide without spending too much time in the nose slide. This again is similar to fall 01. The final improvement before we take a look at the current top times comes from better speed slides throughout the map, switching to the 5th gear earlier, and cleaning up the second jump. This is achieved by adjusting the angle at the bottom of the ramp to the left and returning to a proper trajectory afterwards, resulting in a lower jump. If the right steer is overdone, the bottom of the car bounces a second time, leading to a slowdown. The rest of the map remains the same, with further improved speed slides towards the finish. On grass, the optimal overlap is quite large, as shown on the top left. We will see even better overlaps during the next comparison. To see how it is done, we take a look at Solivagans and SaPure, who further optimized the previously mentioned strategies. Interestingly, when entering the final straight, SaPure manages to get a better drop down, but loses in the end due to less perfect speed slides. And to finish it off, all the rounds combined, visualizing the gradual improvements. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave any feedback or questions in the comments or head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/SaPure7. See you next time.